weekend edition here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, I can tell you that Usoro receives Olympic boost ahead of the games that is coming up. And I can equally inform you that this weekend promises to be thrilling because River Supers have gained top recognition in the NBA Summer League. Of course, you know the Euro Championship is very, very around this weekend. Finals coming up at the Berlin Stadium, and we'll give you a prelude to what to expect at this weekend's final of the Euro Championship. It's a loaded weekend, and so I urge you to stay back and enjoy. When we return from a break, we'll serve you with the details. This Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition, and this weekend I have with me very reliant Kingsley Emmanuel.
Thank you very much for having me, sir. Very happy to be here this weekend. Well,
it's a weekend where the Euro Championship is the main focus, and don't forget as well the Copa America comes to an end this weekend. So that will be our focus. But beyond that, it is just about double days. Talking about maybe about less than 20 days to the Olympic Games. And the Nigerians are preparing using different championship and classic, to get into shape and condition for winning medals or even getting to the podium at the Olympic Games. Kingsley, Usoro has been in news. He's been at the Memphis Classic.
Yes, also she's in the news for a very good reason, putting up an impressive performance, of course, at the Memphis Classic with a jump of about 66.70 meters. Was so there, putting up a very impressive performance, and that's for me a statement of intent, for her getting down to the Paris Olympic Games. I think for me, it's actually a good one. Seeing her coming up, with this level of performance, I think that would definitely boost, her morale, give her much confidence and much motivation heading down to the Olympics. We understand how intense, if you take a look at it, it is for Team Nigeria heading down to the Olympic Games, looking at the fact that these athletes on ground are looking forward, of course, to put up some good records for themselves. And Usoro is also one of them. We hope, of course, she's going to, of course, maintain momentum. I think since last year, she's actually put up a very impressive performance for herself. We saw at the World Athletics Championship where she also put up a gold medal. Even 4 months ago, we saw at the African Championship as well. She was also able. Preparation has been in top gear, despite some of the hitches, of course, we've seen. The other day we talked about issue of kits, but I think the Secretary General of the National Olympic Committee has come to clear the air on the kit issue, that yes, the black kit is actually the normal kit being approved by the Olympic organizers, but Team Nigeria will be having a second kit, which will be that of the green kit, which was actually approved a few weeks ago. So all of those things are being put in place, and I think everyone's mind is actually prepared to make sure that they get themselves prepared. Tobia Muson, of course, is one of the athletes everyone is looking out for this particular edition. She has never gotten a gold medal at the Olympic Games, and there's an opportunity for her, looking at the fact John Waneno has done that has actually helped the athletes to get themselves very much prepared for this one. I think that was a few days ago where I got to report that the federal government has actually approved better representation, and I think for me that was a huge relief to some of the federation. We didn't know how to, of course, navigate their way down to Paris and also help their athletes, of course, represented very well. I think for me it was a huge relief for the federations that will be representing the country as well as the athletes as well. So for me, we've not heard of any hitches when it has to do with fun. I think for me that's good news. Unlike the 2020 Olympic where we had a lot of issues of sponsorship, funds, jersey. The last Olympic was so disorganized, for Team Nigeria.
To have 2 players and 2 officials, be part of the Las Vegas Summer League, the prelude to the NBA season?
For me, I think it's as a result of the performance we saw at the Basketball African League that just got concluded. The River Supers, I beg your pardon, have a very, very impressive performance. No one gave them that opportunity, of course, to be able to get down to this stage or getting down into the semi-final of the competition. It was such an impressive performance from there. I think that's why, we saw two players being selected, and the coach talking about Coach Ogo Daudu and the assistant as well, Abdurrahman Mohammed, being selected, for the NBA Summer League down there. And I think for me, it's actually a good one. This to tell you that at least basketball is improving down here in Nigeria. Will you see that in the whole? Because you talk about the league, not really that formidable, but River Supers, they've been able to distinguish themselves when it has to do with performance, even in the league down here, and as well as the Basketball African League as well. So for me, I think the recent performance in the league, as well as the continental engagement in the Basketball African League, gave them that leap, to be able, and they were up there for River Supers, and that's why their effort, of course, has been recognized down there in the NBA. I will hope as well they go down there, gather enough knowledge as well to make sure maybe they still have more time with the River Supers team, and that would definitely help them to also grow.
Governor Similaye Fubara did pronounce this largesse to the team just before the weekend.
Yeah, that was another way of encouraging and commending, motivating the players for the nice gesture. Don't forget they had an impressive, time, and they just concluded Nigerian Basketball League. And not only that, they also went ahead to go down to the finals of the Basketball African League. So I think it worth commending by the state governor. Take a look at that effort. They also came back with a very huge amount of money from the Basketball African League.
$150,000 US?
Yes, that's so huge. So for me, I think it's actually worth commending by the state governor, and we hope that this performance will continue to grow for Rivers.
And the governor was very appreciative of the effort of the sports commissioner, Barrister Christopher Green, for the leadership he has provided to ensuring that the state continue.
I think the sport commissioner, the way he's gone about in organizing sports, in the states, take a look at all the sectors, sporting sectors in the states. I think he's been able to touch them, touch each of those sectors, and making sure that at least they live up to expectation whenever they are actually being called for, whenever we see them competing in any competition. So far, so good. You will say, yes, they have tried, but more needs to be done. This is the areas where we actually test the strength of some of these sports is at the National Sports Festival. How far have we done after River State, how far have they gone when it has to do with, the National Sports Festival performance? The last one we saw in Bayelsa, I think, yes, they tried, but that was not the kind of performance we expected from River State, at this point. We expect River State, of course, to maybe come top in terms of swimming, volleyball, and the rest of it, talk about judo. But I think they were only able to come up, I think, was in handball and basketball, and they just concluded their National Sport Festival. Yes, it's been a rosy one from the commissioner. He's tried in making sure that sports, keep gathering momentum in the state, but we need more. And with that, I think the sport governor has actually, tasked him to be able to organize, a state festival, come this December, which would, of course, definitely help to unearth more talent, in the state that could help, the states when it has to do with the National Sports Festival and maybe some other sport, probably representing Nigeria in a global stage. I think with that, the talents will be harnessed, in order for we to have the best down here in the states.
While River State government did largesse to athletes that won in different fields, there 30 million, 25 million, of course, equal down to 2.5 million on individual athletes who won as well. So congratulations to the athletes. And here on Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition, we've told you how Nigerians are ready, Team Nigeria are ready, the new head coach of Kano Pillars.
Yes, for me, I think for Imama Amafa Kabo, good one. This is going to be his second missionary journey down there at Albia Warriors. We saw him at some point, I think that was around 2020 or 2021 thereabouts. I didn't have a very good outing with the side, and it was let go, at the end of the day. But coming back this time, he's coming back as a technical manager. He's going to be partnering with the present coach of the side, talking about Betel Oji, who actually helped them, of course, to get down to the finals of the Federation Cup. though they had a little bit of a better performance in the league, but it wasn't really good enough. But I think with the experience Imam and Mark Pakabo has gathered, over time, having been away from the game for some time, I think he has also learned a lot, to be able to give back, to the team. It's a good one for Abia Warriors. I think for me, they should also be...
Still, the unresolved issue of who becomes the head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Names are being bandied left, right, and center. Latest in the skill or role of list for coaches expected to lead the Super Eagles is Coach Hervé Rennes. Is asking for, do I say, a wage I doubt the Nigeria Football Federation will be able to pay.
Yes, he's asking for $180,000. If you want to take at that, of course, in Naira, you'll be having about $253 million when he was around. The man was owed a backload of salaries before he has to complain. Even to today, talk about General, who is actually the coach of Benin Republic at this point. He's still having issues with NFL when it has to do with payment of his salary and all of that. So coming up with this huge amount of money, this would be a very big mountain to climb, for the Nigerian Football Federation to be able to pay this man what he's demanding for. Yes, the man has done so well when it has to do with football down here in Africa. As coach Cote d'Ivoire, we've seen him as well in Saudi Arabia. And for me, he's a good coach, if you ask me. Is it the right man for the job? Taking a look at the situation of the Super Eagles at the moment, I would say yes, because he can possibly churn out the result. We understand we're in a very deadly position when it has to do with the World Cup qualification and as well as the AFCON.
Land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, social, and documentaries, and the day only on it.
Welcome back. It's Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition here on Atlantic Television Network. Kingsley Manuel is here, and together we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening around the world of sports. Let's get to the brass tacks for this weekend, which is the European Championship that is getting across the whole world. Most cities around the world, football followers are keeping an eye at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. Matches, the final match of the Euro Championship comes up between England and Spain. Kingsley. Really hot out there. Spain Spain have won the competition 3 times. Remember, I think in 1964 and 2008 or 2012. And since then, they've not won, but they've won it 3 times. They are looking at winning it 4 times. Interestingly, no European nation has won the European Championship 4 times. And that's what Spain will be going for. For England, it's been 58 years of waiting for a trophy. They've never won the European Championship. The only international trophy they won in football was the 1966 World Cup. Since then, they've not. But it looks like Southgate, Gary Southgate, is coach of England, is cooking something that could result. They've won all their games.
Yes.
And a quick check shows that no team in European Championship, all of the history of European Championship, have won all of their games leading up to the final. So Spain just seem to be properly in shape to winning this one. For England, we saw them struggle. They've qualified to the final, with at least 1 penalty kick, and of course late goals, 90th minute, 95th minute. For Spain, they've won outrightly, not qualifying via penalties, like I mentioned. The very first European nation to do that, to play in the final without having to come via a penalty kick. So do you think this is an advantage for Spain, or it is one that is to their disadvantage, given that maybe they have worked hard to talk about working hard, England having to play 120 minutes and maybe going through the anxiety of penalties?
Well, for me, I think if you ask me, first of all, I would say so far so good are the best team in this competition, talking about Spain. If you take a look at the way they've played, I think you definitely want to give it up. Then they understand the game very well. No matter how the team they tend to face, they know how to navigate their way and being able to go through. I think I tried to remember the game. Was it the quarterfinal encounter where they actually got a late goal? I think that goal came from Marino in the 119 minutes. That was a header. I think that was against, I don't know if it was against Portugal. I think that was, yes, that was a game against Portugal. Also that late minute header. They just know how to make sure that, you know, they get the game done. And they have young and vibrant and sharp players, the likes of Lami Yamal, Lico Williams. They have the likes of Gavi, the likes of Amo. These are players that are very young and very, very, very active on the pitch of play. And I think that's why it's been so rosy for the Spanish national team. You know, when you take a look at their records, the performance they've gathered so far.
Talking about the Spanish national teams and their performance, like you mentioned, they saw off Germany, difficult one than even that of England. But I'm more impressed with the fact that they have scored most goals, 13 goals. Yeah. In terms of creating chances, so by far, it looks like they are better than the English.
Definitely.
If you talked about creativity of young players, Nico, Lamy, yes, there is Saka, there is
Cole Palmer,
Kobe Mino as well. But it looks like there's, you know, relatively younger age players in the Spanish national team.
I'm telling you, you won't only the young players in the Spanish national team. If you ask me, I would say they are better. Yeah, better than that of England. Yes, because these players are very, very sharp. They are very, very creative. You know, down there, you know, in Spain. And I think that for me, that's the reason why I was seeing this high turnout of goals for them this time. High level of creativity, even in defense as well. They've not done badly. They have the likes of Carvajal, who was also, of course, been very impressive down there in the defense for them. So if you take a look at from the defense down to the midfield and down to the attack, these players, you know, are well balanced and they have.
You talk about midfield and defense. Let's look at the goalkeeping department of these both sides. The French national, the English national team have Pickford in goal, and of course for the Spanish national team they have
looking out for means of putting up some crucial save than that of Simon. For Simon, I think the defensive side of the Spanish national team has been of a good one, you know, for him. He hasn't really received much, but we'll see him down some couple of saves. But when you take a look at both goalkeepers, definitely you want to give it up to Pickford, taking a look at how he has also helped England to get down to the finals for this Euros competition.
Goalkeeping department, in his estimation of Kingsley, he thinks that goalkeeper Pickford of England is better than Simone O'Neill of Spain, and I think I agree with him. If you look at you know, their performances so far in this tournament, we've talked about the very young players, you know, littered with the Spanish national team as compared to that of the English national team as well. Now let's look at the helmsmen, the coaches of these two teams. Kingsley, we know Gareth Southgate, the coach of England. He's been with the team for 8 years. He's played over 100 games. In fact, this is his 103rd game he will be playing for the English national team. He's been to back-to-back final of the European Championship. Remember the 2021 championship, 2020 championship held in 2021 because of COVID in England. He was in the final, narrowly beaten by the Azuris of Italy. But no other coach in English football has been in the back-to-back final of the competition. And a lot of people still boo him, you know, still think that he is not giving his best yet to the national team until he's able to win a trophy. And this is a chance to winning a trophy. Let's look at him before we go to look at the gaffer of the Spanish national team. What is your impression about Gareth Southgate, having stayed 8 years and played over 102 games with the Three Lions of England?
I think for me, if you take a look at, you know, Gareth Southgate, I think for me he's done well for the Three Lions of England. I saw what he did with the team in the 2018 World Cup, where he took them, I think, down to the finals of that one. We saw what he did also with the 2020 Heroes as well. He was also able to take them, of course, down to the finals of that one. Then we saw what he also did with the team at the Qatar World Cup, where he took them to the quarterfinals of the 2022 Qatar World Cup. And now the Euro 2024, he has taken them to the finals once again. I think if you take a look at in the past 10 years, we've not seen that from England, even though there is Southgate that has come up to put that record. Had the golden generation, where you have the likes of Gary Neville, you have the likes of Ferdinand, you have so many players, but these players were not able to get to this height that we've seen Gary Southgate taking England to. So for me, I think I must commend Gary Southgate for what he's been able to do for this English national team. Though so many persons will say the team are not playing very beautiful football, a team that are very much star-studded like England. You have Harry Kane, you have Cole Palmer, you have talk about Kobe Mino. You have the very best of players down there that they expect England to be able to live up to expectation. But the man is turning out the results. You might say he's not giving you the beautiful football, but the result is coming. You're qualifying to championship finals, and then what else do you need? So for me, I think Gary Southgate has done so well. When you take a look at the 8 years he's been with this team, I think they should just give him his flowers. The man has done so well. I think no England manager has been able to do this, for a very long time now. So I think the English fans should just give him this, give him his flowers, and of course tend to support him, because at this point in time he needs support to be able to break that jinx. It's been a very long time. England has not won. They've not won any trophy.
58 years.
58 years. So this is even an opportunity where he's going to break that jinx this time if he can be able to get past Spain this weekend. So for me, I think Southgate has done well for the English national team.
Gary Southgate, in the opinion of Kingsley, should be given flowers for doing so well. He's been there for 8 years, played over 102 games, and now is in their zones, their penalties. Let's now look at the quality of the coach of the Spanish national team. Kingsley, this is really, really interesting. Fela Lafonte is one man who has been with the Spanish national team from the under-19 level. He won under-21 level. He won. He was with the team at the senior level at the UEFA Nations League. He won as well. Now he's at the #1 position
for a very long time. You could mention, most of the players, which of course he's actually been with, and I think for me, the understanding and that he has actually, of course, imparted on them is the reason why, of course, we're seeing this beautiful display. The players understand themselves. They actually work with the manager for a very long time, so they understand what it means, of course, to play with him. And for me, I think it's good. If you take a look at what happened in the Qatar World Cup, I think Luis Enrique was the manager of the side. He didn't get the best, out of the team, but Lafonte came, was able to bring in new players, new legs into the side, and not new legs, young players, as it says, and that's how, of course, they've been able to get this particular result seen at this point. Now they've gotten a manager like this, I think it's then time for them to see how, of course, to maintain him and see what, of course, he can be able to do. This is an opportunity for him to see how he can also give Spain another European title. Just like you mentioned down there, they've won it 3 times. This is going to be the 4th time, and I think if you take a look at what Lafonte has been able to do, he can possibly, of course, deliver this one for them.
Lafonte was in the Olympic final. He lost, and he won a silver in that one. Can he get a gold medal at the Euro Championship?
Not far from him at all. If you ask me, when you take a look at it, Spain are favourites when it has to do with the title, the Euro 2024 title this time. They are built better, than England. A pattern of play, level of creativity, and everything. I think for me, Lafonte is not far from clinching a gold medal at this time around, of course, at the Heroes. The man has done a lot, and the players are all playing for him. Not only playing for him, they are playing for the glory of the country as well. So a lot is at stake, and I think if you take a look at it critically, Lafonte is not far from clinching a gold medal for Spain.
Lafonte, the coach of the Spanish national team, not far from clinching a gold medal, haven't gotten silver at the Olympic Games. We told you how he's won the UEFA Nations League, he's won the Under-17 and the Euro Championship title for the Spanish team. Kingsley, before we get out of this final between Spain and England at the
the last game to help them salvage that victory as well. I think for me, you take a look at it, up front, they are very good. Midfield a little bit better, but I think what could possibly put up the difference in this encounter could be the defense. I think both managers should be able to watch it and see how they can be able to rejig and rejuvenate the defense to make sure that they don't have any problem at this point, because I think for where possibly we might be seeing a mistake or anything could happen will be the defense line of it. But I so much trust that they will also be back. So you take a look at the defense line of England, it looks a bit formidable, but I have a little worry when it has to do with the first line of the Spanish national team. They also have to be.
England have the Euro Championship. We told you before, England has never won the Euro Championship, and for Spain, they've won it 3 times. If they win it this weekend, then that will be 4 times, and no other European nation has won it as many as 4 times. And Germany has been a wonderful host of the tournament, and we hope that the final will as well bring the spectacle that we've seen in the last 2 weeks or so. Now, let's stay away from the Euro Championship. Another football tournament that is lighting up the world right now is the Copa America. The Copa America, of course, is for nations in the South American League zone. Kingsley.
That particular one. Let's see what goes up as well, with the final, and I will hope that Argentina, taking a look at the way they've played so far, maybe could be able to get a favorable result, against their opponent. Talking about Colombia.
Colombia, in the about do I say 6 meetings between these two countries, between Argentina and them, and they've bet only once against Argentina. So do you think this will continue this weekend? Argentina will beat Colombia, who has so far remained unbeaten in their last 28 games?
Yes, for me, I think 28 games, I tell you, that's a very huge record for Colombia. And coming down to this one, it's going to be very tough, for Argentina, because if you take a look at the Colombian team, from what I've been able to assess, they are very good when it comes to scoring. That fantastic. We haven't seen any player in the competition, if you ask me, that have been so impressive like James Rodriguez, for the Colombian side. And I think for me, which is, brilliance on the day, they might possibly take this one if they keep their, game, if they put up an A game in this particular one.
Well, time for us to wrap up the show, and of course, we'll bring our Sports Extraordinaire for the weekend. And this weekend, Sports Extraordinaire could not be any other person than Lamine Yamal. The man is celebrating his 17th year on earth this weekend, and he will be playing in the final as well against England at the